take my cards right. Up the ante, one blackjack all night. Roll the dice, let it ride. Water beyond my guns, snake eyes.
One of the areas I first got started in social media was Twitter. There's something about Twitter when I came across it that I just loved. I liked it better than I liked Facebook at the time. Twitter was some place where I could get news, I could get information, I could meet new people, I could find people with similar interests, I can make connections. Ultimately, I started starting to get opportunities from Twitter. I've received clients because of Twitter, not on Twitter exactly, but the conversation, the networking, the relationship started because of Twitter. And then Twitter took somewhat of a hit. It became very popular, overpopulated, and then people just posting content. And then it became very polarizing because they're talking about these topics that people take one side or the other on, and it gets heated, right? And there's a lot of negativity that's out there, and so it kind of took a back seat for a while. And as Instagram and LinkedIn and some of these other apps or networks started to come to be, Twitter took a back seat. And I'm here to say right now, do not sleep on Twitter as a platform, as a network that you can use. Now, you definitely can post your content, you can post links out, you can post images on Twitter, and that's good. And we certainly do that. I do that because, but do it in a sense of like sharing information that you think might help somebody else out. But going back further, when you start on Twitter, first of all, seek out information that you think could help you out, that you could learn from, and then you could help other people. But really, what you need to do is build an audience. You need to build an audience of similar opinions, similar interests, similar industries, those types of things, where you can learn and where you can also teach. And I think if you do that, you'll start just building an audience very naturally. Don't buy out followers on Twitter. Don't just reach to grab as many followers as you can get by, one thing I can't stand, go off a little bit of a tangent, is when someone follows you and then they follow, obviously not just you, but they follow a lot of people, and then they unfollow you. And you can see this when you go on to, there's some Crowdfire is an app, for example. It costs like $4 and you can add your Twitter account to it, and you can see who's unfollowed you. And you'll notice, this is very common, a person will follow you, and then a couple weeks later they'll unfollow you, and when you go to the Crowdfire app, you'll see that they are following 0 people. So all they're doing is following 500 people at a time, let a couple weeks go by, and then they unfollow all those same 500 people. And then not everybody's going to unfollow them back, so they might gain, let's say, 350 followers just out of that, and they think that's the way to do it. So I think that's a very bad thing to do. But really what you want to do is engage with people with similar interests. For example, I'm a huge Ohio State fan, so I follow a lot of people that are Ohio State fans, but I'm truly interested in their opinions and what they're thinking, and maybe they have updates from me, or maybe they're an insider for Ohio State football. Same thing with the Buffalo Bills, same thing with people living in Charlotte, same people with traveling, or people in or an entrepreneur in the marketing business or the insurance industry. Just things along those lines. You start interacting and following these people, you'll start building an audience. And then you can take that and then you can share your information, you can share your links. But more than anything else on Twitter, what I like is you can connect with these people, meaning you can actually have engaging conversations. You can chime in at any point in time and offer feedback. Not, hey, I want to sell you something, or I want you to buy something from me. It's more along the lines of having a true engaging conversation with somebody and then just being natural about it, not looking to sell anything at all. And this goes back to the earlier point about creating a LinkedIn profile. If you have a message in your Twitter profile and a link to your podcast, to your website, to whatever it is that you want to share, well, now it's very natural for someone to go there, research about you, click on the link, check it out, and say, hey, I really like this person. I would like to talk to them more, and maybe they message you back. And so also your profile, your messaging is very simple, and maybe now I can go find you on LinkedIn. So I love going cross network, meaning I find you on Twitter, now I go to LinkedIn and we can connect there. Maybe the conversation's a little bit different on LinkedIn, or vice versa. I find you on LinkedIn, now I see you on Twitter. I definitely think less people maybe are going over to Twitter than used to be in some ways, but I think there's really good conversation to be had. You can reach a certain kind of audience that you kind of find surprising. Alan Major, who was the coach at UNC Charlotte, assistant coach at Ohio State, assistant coach at Xavier. We originally met on Twitter because he made some great posts that I thought was interesting, made a comment to him. Then we connected over on LinkedIn. Then we had a phone conversation and multiple phone conversations. Then he started doing guest blogging for us. He's very busy right now because he's in the college basketball world. There's a lot of stuff going on with college basketball. But again, that conversation started on Twitter. and we had great conversations with each other, and I believe that we'll be connected for a very long time. So do not sleep on Twitter. Make sure your profile, just like in your LinkedIn profile, has a common theme to it that's more related to Twitter than it is to LinkedIn, because they're different platforms. And then have engaging conversations. Seek out finding out about other people and what they're talking about, and then truly go have a nice back and forth with them. Not everyone's going to do it, but you'll be surprised. Read a book called Extreme Ownership. Jocko Willink is the author of it, and with Leif Babin, and it's an incredible book. It's about leadership the Navy SEAL way. But anyway, someone else had made a post about a book that he wrote for kids. I had no idea about this book until I saw this tweet, and I saw that Jocko had responded back to him, and I simply responded back to Jocko, first of all, thanking him for the book that I love, that I'm going to get the book that he's written for kids and let my kids read it, and then also thanking him for his service. And then Jocko responds back to me, very simple stuff, but it's like, for someone like that, he's now getting new engagement and new followers to buy his books or listen to his podcast than he otherwise wouldn't have gotten. I get good feedback from someone like that, and there's just a lot of good things that could happen. It's just doing things the right way, as we always talk about on here. So the moral of that story is, do not sleep on Twitter.
Win all in, play my cards right. Up the ante, won blackjack all night. Roll the dice, let it ride. Water the odds, I got snake.
This podcast exists in large part because of KazCM, the content marketing business inside KazSource Inc. KazCM is excited to bring the content marketing services used at KazSource to you. Learn more by visiting KazCM.com. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. It's a big deal to us. We hope you found value in it, and if you did, we would be incredibly grateful if you gave us a review on iTunes. Remember to subscribe to this podcast, and feel free to share it with anyone you know. More than anything, thank you again for listening. We appreciate it.